I'm constantly hearing the same story from new shop owners and even from seasoned barbers who are just looking to upgrade their setup. The chair they saw on a glossy website looked sleek, the leather looked buttery, the recline seemed smooth, and then once it arrived nothing fit the space, the foot pump was stiff, and the upholstery started to show wear after a few weeks. That kind of disappointment is why I'm doing a deep dive on this particular model before anyone clicks add to cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Pibbs Utah Barber chair is marketed as a heavy-duty, black recliner that can handle the daily grind of a bustling barbershop. It's the sort of chair you'd expect to see in a professional environment, but the real question is whether it lives up to that promise when you actually swing the door open in the morning. I've spent a solid day walking through a couple of shops that have this exact chair installed, watching stylists use it for everything from quick trims to full-service shaves, and I've also taken it apart on a friend's side hustle salon to see how easy it is to move and adjust. If you run a shop that sees a steady flow of clients, say, 10 to 15 per day, and you need a chair that can tilt back for facial work while still being sturdy enough to hold a heavyweight client, the Utah has a lot going for it. The recline mechanism is hydraulic, meaning you can push the foot lever and the chair slides back without any grinding noises. In practice, I saw stylists move the chair into a near-flat position for a straight razor shave and then pop it back up in under 5 seconds. That speed matters when you're trying to keep appointments on time and avoid bottlenecks. Another practical point is the swivel base. The chair spins a full 360 degrees, which sounds nice on paper, but the real benefit shows up when you have a cramped layout. One shop I visited had 3 chairs arranged in a tight triangle, and the barber could effortlessly swing the Utah around to face the mirror without having to stand up or shuffle around the floor. The base feels weighted enough that it doesn't wobble when a client leans back, yet it's not so heavy that you need a forklift to reposition it. For a shop that occasionally reconfigures its floor plan, that balance is a genuine time saver. Now, let's talk about the upholstery. The chair comes upholstered in black faux leather that's meant to be easy to wipe down, which is a must when you're dealing with hair clippings, gels, and the occasional splash of aftershave. In the real-world setting I observed, the material held up well during a full day of use. The surface didn't develop unsightly streaks or absorb liquids. However, because it's synthetic, it can show small scratches if a client leans on the armrest with sharp nails or a metal tool. So if your clientele tends to be rough on chairs, you might need to keep a polishing cloth handy or consider a higher-grade leather option. One of the hidden trade-offs with a heavy-duty chair like this is the foot pump height. The hydraulic lever sits a bit higher than on some lighter models, which can be a comfort issue for shorter barbers. I watched a stylist who was about 5'4" have to bend a little more to reach the lever, and while it didn't seem to affect his workflow dramatically, it's something to be aware of if you're on the shorter side. The good news is the lever itself is smooth and requires only a light push, so the extra bend isn't a major strain over a typical workday. Weight capacity is another practical concern that often gets glossed over in online descriptions. The Utah is rated for around 300 pounds, and in the shop I visited the owner tested it with a client who was well over that limit. The chair didn't give way, the hydraulic system held firm, and the seat didn't sag. For most barbershop clientele that's more than sufficient, but if you run a specialty service that regularly handles larger clients, think plus-size grooming or family appointments, double-check that the rating aligns with your needs. The chair's frame is steel, and the overall construction feels solid, but keep in mind that the cushion depth is moderate, which can affect perceived comfort for heavier users. Who should definitely consider buying this chair? If you're setting up a new shop and need a reliable, all-around performer that can handle both cutting and shaving, the Utah checks the boxes. It's especially well-suited for barbers who value quick recline and swivel capabilities, and who appreciate a low-maintenance leather look that doesn't demand constant conditioning. It also works for home-based barbers who want a professional vibe without breaking the bank. The price point sits below many high-end leather models while still offering the same hydraulic recline. On the flip side, there are scenarios where this chair might not be the best fit. If your shop has a very tight